Hey friends, it's Ashley, and today I'm here sharing a new traveler's notebook for Coco Daisy, and I am using the new June Koi Pond kits. I'm specifically working with the Modern Memory Keeping Kit and the Memory Keeping Sticker Kit. And for my layout today, I'm going to start out with some stamping. I have my background paper and my photos, which I kind of made into Instax photos in Adobe Illustrator before I printed those out. And I also have one of the 4x6 journaling cards from the kit, and I'm going to use that as kind of a background behind my photos just to bring some color behind those. And then I want to stamp in the background using one of the little patterns from the stamp set that is in the Koi Pond kit. And so I'm just going to kind of mark there with my pencil the area where my journaling card and my photos are going to go. And then I can just kind of stamp around that area, and it just gives me a perimeter so I can have that pattern going outside around it without having to stamp all through the middle, because you're not going to see that part anyway. And I really like this stamp. I would call it kind of like a scallop design. And I'm using Tattered Rose Distress Oxide ink to stamp that because it really goes well with the colors in the Koi Pond kit. And so I'm just kind of moving my papers back to see where I need to fill in. And now you can see I've got all of that stamped, and it's just really an organic shape going kind of all around behind where my photos and the journaling card will be. And once I had all of that finished, I decided to go back and grab the other little scallop shape. It's a little bit different. The other one is made up of lines. This one is made up of like dots. And so I'm just using this one to kind of fill in a few little extra spaces to make it kind of not really even, but to just get some spots that I felt like needed to have a little extra stamping that I couldn't do with the other one because it had all of the four or five, let's see, four little shapes together. So this was perfect for just going in and adding a little bit more of that color in there. And once I get that finished up, then I'm going to go ahead and get my journaling card down. Since it's going across both sides of the page, I'm just going to put some adhesive on one side, get it back in place, and I just left my pencil lines there because those are going to be covered up anyway. And then I'm going to cut this and go ahead and finish gluing down the paper or the journaling card on the left hand side, get my pages lined back up, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue that other side back together. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my photos and get those in place back where those little pencil lines were, just to cover those up. And that way I know where I want those to go. Once I get all of that in place, I am going to take my one hole punch and go ahead and punch those holes back out. I did punch the holes for my traveler's notebook off screen before I started. And then this way I can go back anytime I have something covering up the holes and just use my one hole punch to get that punch back out. Now that I've got all of that done, I'm going to start embellishing. These are some of the die cuts from the Koi Pond kit, and I'm going to go through and just kind of pick some things out. These photos are actually from the Botanical Gardens in Birmingham, Alabama. We went there in February, and it kind of went kind of really perfect with the Koi Pond kit because this is the Japanese garden area, and there are some koi in the ponds there around that little part of the botanical gardens. And so I'm just kind of looking for some florals, some phrases, and I did want to use a couple of the koi fish just because it goes along with the theme of my photos. And some of these embellishments I am going to adhere directly to the background, and then some of them I'm going to pop up with pop dots. But I'm just kind of going around and figuring out where I want to get those placed. And I will be creating kind of a visual triangle. I'll have something at the top left hand photo. Then I've got that on the bottom right and then the bottom left. So it'll just kind of guide your eye around the page once I have all of that in place. And this is the one that I'm going to be adding up above the photo. I liked this shape and the color. And I think that one said today's story or the story of today. And I really like how it mixed with that the Distress Oxide Tattered Rose color. So now I'm going to start adding my title. And these are the cute alpha stickers from the kit. And I'm going to use those across both sides of the page to spell out Japanese garden. And I really like the contrast of this darker color with the light pink. And then I also like using these little tweezers to get those in place. It helps me to get them lined up. And then sometimes if they're a little bit off, like if you're putting down an N or something like that, where you have kind of two pieces that are spread out, it kind of helps you to be able to get those back in shape. And you'll see kind of how I do that on this last one. It was just kind of a little off, so I use those tweezers to kind of just push it back in shape. So now I want to go and use the memory keeping sticker kit, and I am going to use one of the koi stickers here, and I'm going to pop this one up because I felt like I needed something in that cluster on the right hand side that was popped up. So I just added some pop dots behind him and put him there on the right hand side. And I also want to do some more stamping with the stamp set. There are a few phrases on there that I wanted to stamp. So I'm going to grab some of the stickers, and I like to stamp on stickers because it kind of grounds your stamping and gives you an area to stamp in. Since I was going to be layering the stickers from these sheets over like my photos and some of the other embellishments, I didn't want any of that to show through the sticker. So I decided to just put them on some white cardstock, and that way it would make it a little bit thicker. So I got those three that I wanted to use on the cardstock, and then I'm just going to cut all of these back out. And that way too, if you don't want to have the sticky part and you're planning on putting them somewhere and you don't know for sure if you can put it on like some cardstock or something like that, then it takes away the sticky background, and then you can kind of move them around and put them in different spots. And these were easy to cut out because they were simple shapes, just an oval and some rectangles. So once I get those cut, I'm going to go ahead and add those and get the stamping done. And I'm just using black ink for these. The phrases were a little small, and so I wanted to make sure that I got a good stamped image. So I'm just using black archival ink to stamp those. And I always like to have black stamping anyway, so I didn't mind doing it in the black color. And I did Happy Place on the oval because it was a little bit bigger of a stamp and it wouldn't fit on the little rectangle stickers, but it did fit perfectly on the oval. So I got all of those stamped out, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere them to my page and just kind of add those to those cluster areas that I've already got going on. And I like to overlap things over my photos just to kind of give it interest, so I did that. And I did forget that I had the little label already, the die cut piece there in that cluster on the right. So I went back and put snippets from today because it was a little bit longer of a stamp and it wouldn't fit on the ones from the sticker sheet, but it fit perfectly there. And then next I grabbed a couple of the word phrases from the sticker sheet and just added those to the cluster areas also. And then I had to grab these die cuts. These are in the Modern Memory Keeping Kit. Not die cuts, I'm sorry, rub-ons. I meant to say rub-ons. And I cannot tell you how long it has been since I've used rub-ons. Like years and years and years. It's been a long time. And I am so glad that these are in the kit because I really love rub-ons. And I had so much fun using these. And I just cut those little kind of black flower shapes. And I'm going to place those around the layout in those cluster areas. And I really can't wait to use the rub-ons more this month. I'm like really wanting to use them in my planner. So I'm looking forward to that. But I really liked how these looked layered over the stamping that I did in the background. And it was really fun to add those. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my journaling. And I printed that on some vellum sticker paper. And I'm just going to pull those off, and I'm going to add it down here on the left hand side under the Hello Sunshine cluster. And I kind of wanted to do this offset, and that's why I did kind of each line for my journaling separately. And then that way I could cut it and move it to kind of fit in that area and just get it where I wanted it. And instead of having like a straight paragraph of journaling, having it offset like that goes along with the stamping in the background that I did and kind of goes along with that organic shape that I had going on with the stamping. And then I'll get the rest of that finished off camera so you can see that here. And I always want to add my date, so I just grabbed my date stamp and got that on there. And then I always like to do tiny attacher staples on any of the little phrases and things like that that I add. So I went ahead and did that on a couple of those. And then I thought it would be fun to embellish the rub-ons that I used. So I just grabbed some of the little enamel dots in the yellow color and put those on here to finish off the layout. Make sure you check out the description box to see all of the products that I used on my layout. If this is your first time to visit my channel, I would love for you to become a new subscriber. And if you liked today's video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.